you love. You must choose.
It was the eve of Palpatine's triumph, the eve of the triumph of the very Sith. As Sidious sat within the Chancellor's office, he smiled, as he sensed two very distinct things reaching out to him through the Force, although they themselves did not know it yet. He could feel the determination, the valor, the righteousness of 4 Jedi Masters swiftly approaching his chambers, ready to cut him down in a moment's notice if he indeed proved himself to be a Sith Lord, a certainty that they all held close to their hearts. But as he sat and waited patiently, like a venomous snake laid in the grass, he could sense something else that brought him immense joy. He felt peril, grief, and uncertainty, a strike contrast to the Jedi who were growing ever closer with every step of the hallway. Sidious could sense the emotions and the feelings of Anakin Skywalker in the Jedi Temple, as Anakin realized that by alerting the Jedi, he may have just signed the death warrant of his very wife. He senses the change of heart in the young Skywalker, and Palpatine's grin grows wider. Greetings, students of the Force and acolytes of the galaxy, back to our archives, and today we intend to settle one of the biggest debates in all of Star Wars lore, and explain why, at least from Palpatine's point of view, he actually could have defeated Mace Windu in Revenge of the Sith, and why ultimately he decided not to. The reasoning behind this and this archive entry comes from 2 sources. The first is the Revenge of the Sith novelization, which we'll cover later in the video, and the second is a book authored directly by Darth Sidious, known as the Book of the Sith, in the section titled Anger. Before we begin, however, we do want to say that this is strictly from Darth Sidious's point of view, and it's completely possible that in his arrogance, he is lying about the outcome of the duel. But if everything Sidious says is true, then it may indicate that he did actually win the duel with Mace Windu in the Chancellor's chambers. So come along today, acolytes of the Force, and let's answer perhaps the most highly debated topic in all of Star Wars lore. The Book of Anger was authored by Darth Sidious immediately following Order 66 and the beginning of the end of the Jedi. As he scribbled, he quickly wrote the section Anger. In the Book of Anger, Darth Sidious writes about how much he respected the ancient Sith Lord Darth Malgus, but in his searching through the Force, something else was revealed to the Dark Lord. Darth Sidious became aware that the Jedi were not the only light side based threat in the galaxy that would need to be eliminated, or, for his greater benefit, turned. Even if the Jedi were gone, there were still many Force sensitives littered throughout the galaxy that strictly followed the light and rejected the dark. In order to stop this, Darth Sidious would implement something that he had tested against Anakin Skywalker. 3 steps that Sidious believed could turn any light side wielder to the darkness forever, and therefore become a slave to his rule. Anakin was the guinea pig, and it was the duel between Mace Windu and Palpatine in Anakin's final decision that proved Darth Sidious correct. The first step in turning an individual to the darkness forever was to find something that they desired above anything else. In the case of Anakin, this was his wife Padme, but this could come in many forms, be it riches, outright power, or even safety and sanctuary. If Darth Sidious could identify exactly what they needed, then he could control it and manipulate it. In the case of Anakin, we have several sources that indicate that Palpatine directly fostered the relationship between Padme and the young Skywalker, drawing them closer together in an event that would benefit him twofold. He realized that by placing this temptation within the path of Anakin, this was his ultimate play. Because without Padme, Anakin would never betray the Jedi, because what would he have? But if Palpatine could control the only thing that Anakin truly loved above anything else, he could control the young Jedi. And all it would take on behalf of Darth Sidious was to promise the powers that the dark side could grant. Powers that could save Padme from certain death. But here is where things get tricky. Now, Palpatine had to test this love, and thus, the second step commenced, the test itself. Palpatine had to test Anakin Skywalker's resolve to do anything to save his wife, even if it meant betraying the very order that raised him, an order that deemed him the chosen one. And this test presented itself perfectly in the form of none other than 4 Jedi rushing to his chambers. Palpatine explained that once he had acquired the thing that somebody truly loved, that this would need to be tested without fail by causing a scene of immediate danger, either danger to Anakin's principles or to Padme directly. What this meant is that if Mace Windu were to strike down Darth Sidious, the secrets of the dark side and the secrets to saving Padme would be struck down with him. A promise that Darth Sidious had made to Anakin not more than a day earlier. This all goes to show that Darth Sidious created this event and this moment for Anakin Skywalker, a shatterpoint within the Force itself. A moment where Anakin would either have to choose Padme or the Jedi, but where he truly failed, and what Darth Sidious was fascinated by, is Anakin failed to realize that he did not choose Padme. He chose the dark side. But what of the third step, and what of the ultimate culmination of Darth Sidious's plans? In this moment, Darth Sidious had to ensure their turn forever, and here, he would have to force them to make a decision that would forever alter their path. He would have to push them too far. He would have to push them to the point where they would hate themselves, all initially in the name for what they loved. But now that the evil rot of the dark side was within their very souls, there was no turning back, because with this rot and this anger brought great, intoxicating power. In order to cement Vader's turn, he had to do something that Anakin never would have. Anakin would have to march upon the Jedi Temple. He would have to kill Jedi who he had known for years, decades. Kill them all, from young and old, from powerful to pitiful. So with this, he had to orchestrate from the very beginning him losing the duel to Mace Windu. The 3 steps into action, 3 steps that he would then plague the rest of the galaxy that could touch the Force with. He had to identify the thing that they loved more than anything, threaten it, and cause them to act immediately. By threatening the death of Darth Sidious would also bring along the death of all of the secrets to the dark side that may save Padme. This forced Anakin to compromise his morals and ideals in that moment. And in that moment, as Sidious stated, he did not choose Padme. He chose the dark side. He chose the secrets, and he chose the power that it could grant him. And in the end, he had to push Anakin too far. He had to make him personally march upon the Jedi Temple to kill the younglings and cement his fall to the dark side. So, in the end, what does this tell us about the duel with Mace Windu? Well, this indicates that Palpatine did in fact fabricate his loss, that he put his very life in danger to force Anakin to make a choice. But is this true? Or is this a complete fabrication on behalf of Sidious? Was Mace Windu's Vapad truly too much for the Dark Lord? And is this simply Darth Sidious posturing after being defeated by a Jedi Master? That, my friends and acolytes, I will leave up to you and your interpretation of the duel. This is just the outcome from a certain point of view. But anyway, my friends and fellow acolytes of the Force, thank you yet again for visiting our archives and supporting the channel and our various holocron entries. May the Force be with you in all of your various travels, and we hope to see you back in the archives soon.